events, and issues shaping our community. This is Comcast Newsmakers.
Are you prepared for this hurricane season? Do you know how to minimize damage to your property? Robert Molleda with the National Weather Service in Miami is here with us right now to discuss what we can expect this season and what action plan you should have in case of a disaster. And thanks very much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, let's talk hurricane season now. Do we see more storms? Like the predictions are for a lot of storms this year. Do you think more storms will happen this year than in the previous 3 or 4 years?
Well, it appears that the conditions in the atmosphere in the tropical Atlantic are conducive for an active season. We have the warm waters in the Atlantic Ocean, especially between the coast of Africa and the Caribbean Sea. We have light winds in the upper parts of the atmosphere. We have plenty of moisture out there. Really, all the signs that we look for an active season are there. We'll just have to wait and see what actually materializes between now and then.
Are those conditions different than they were the past 4 years at this time?
It is different from last year. Last year we were under the influence of the El Nino pattern, which means stronger winds aloft, which tends to cut off the hurricanes. This year we're not seeing that. And the water temperatures this year are the warmest they've been at this time of the year since 2005. So definitely it's been a few years since we've seen conditions this prime.
Okay, where do you think storms will form now? Do you think they'll form in the Gulf? Do you think they'll form somewhere out off the coast of Africa?
Well, we don't know for sure where they're going to form. We can tell based on climatology, based on history, where they typically form. In the early part and the late part of the hurricane seasons, the storms tend to form either in the western Caribbean Sea or in the Gulf of Mexico. As we get towards the heart of the hurricane season, August, September, they tend to form farther to the east, sometimes right off the coast of Africa. And those are the ones that have the potential to become the real big hurricanes.
Now, what we see in the past years, we've seen an early season hurricane. Like we saw this year, there was a low pressure system and a tropical system off the coast of North Carolina. And it almost became a named storm, but it didn't. When we see those happen, usually the next couple of months it fizzles out. Why is that?
Well, usually June and July are fairly quiet. June is a pretty quiet month. We typically don't see a lot of tropical storm or hurricane activity in general. July is much the same, except maybe towards the end of July it starts getting maybe a little bit more active. But it's really not until August. That's when the hurricane season really ramps up. And of course, the peak of hurricane season is September. And in South Florida, even October can be a pretty active month.
Now, what should people be doing right now to prepare?
Well, right now, it's making sure we have a plan. You have a hurricane plan. If you don't have one, there's still plenty of time to make one. That means knowing where you're going to be during a storm. If you have to evacuate, make plans as far as ahead of time where you're going to evacuate to. If you're just going to stay in place or stay at home, make sure you have all your supplies ready. That's your bottled water, your food, your batteries, all the things that you're going to need to survive the storm. Right now is the perfect time to do it. There's plenty of time. There's no storms out there. What we don't want to do is wait until the last second and then make bad decisions and get yourself in trouble.
Of course, we have video of people waiting to the last second and going out there and getting food and emptying the supermarket shelves. Because they know an impending storm is coming. But what you're saying is prepare for a camping trip almost.
Yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. Yeah, and make sure a lot of the experts say make sure you're self-sufficient for 3 to 5 days. I think that's good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely want to lessen the load of the first responders and the emergency officials. After a storm, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to need help. So the more we can do to help ourselves, that will in turn really help the community.
What have you seen over the years as far as the storms? Are we in a lull period right now? Because it looks like the last 4 years, we've seen very little storm activity.
Yeah, as far as Florida is concerned, it's been fairly quiet. We still believe that we're in this period of above normal activity. It started back in 1995. And so we're still within that period and may still be another several years before we maybe get into a quieter period. All
right, well, thanks. Let Comcast On Demand help you get ready for storm season. What preparations you should consider before a hurricane hits. It's all under Get Local. I'm Spiro Kenton. Thank you for watching.